Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm Frank Hibbard, the mayor of the city of Clearwater, and we're here on Clearwater Beach, where we have a lot of people availing themselves, but they are also following all of the rules, which we are pleased with. If you walked through, you saw our ambassadors that have the hats on under the shade, and they are talking to everybody that goes out to the beach to make certain that they understand that they have to follow distancing rules, that we are following heightened hygiene rules, and then, as I've asked everyone, to use some common sense. We have our officers that are patrolling the beach to make certain that everybody is abiding by those distancing rules, and you're starting to see a lot more activity, but I think it's being done in a very safe way. We appreciate all of you being here because that is part of getting the proper message out to all of our citizens that we can reopen, but we're going to reopen safely. And I'm glad to have the sheriff here and the chair of our county commission, Pat Gerard, the administrator for the county, our city manager, and police chief. So you've got almost anybody that you would want to ask a question of. With that, I'm going to turn it over to the sheriff to talk about the overall county.
Okay. Thanks, Mayor. Good afternoon. As we kind of laid this out for you last week, and I'll do it a little bit as to what we rolled out this morning, there are about 300 law enforcement officers countywide that began patrolling the beaches this morning about 9 o'clock. From the north end of the county up at Fred Howard Park all the way south to Fort DeSoto, including here in Clearwater Beach. Every beach access point is staffed. All the parking lots have an officer or deputy in the parking lots, and also looking at the bridges and the ingress and all the egress points to all of the barrier islands. The whole purpose is to make sure that this is done in an orderly way and that people can come to the beach, they have a great time and support the businesses that are out here, but at the same time follow the rules. And the rules is that they need to stay 6 feet apart, no more than groups of 10, and that we don't have a situation that creates a problem for anybody. So the effort is well worth it to make sure that this is done in the right way, and first and foremost, that everybody remains healthy. This is a challenge, and there's been a lot of decisions made by a variety of people at different governmental levels, from the governor to the county commission, in the interest of public health and public safety. And the decision was made is now's the time to reopen, but it has to be done in a measured way. So that's why we have the strong commitment that we do, and we will continue that. And as these people are coming out of the beaches, they're being greeted by, here in Clearwater, they've got staff in doing it, we've got law enforcement officers, and just reminding people of what the expectation is. So as we rolled out this morning, I can give you some numbers and just kind of give you an overview as to where it is. One of the things that I will say is something we all need to be careful about is that the view on the ground is sometimes a little bit deceiving. I told you last week that we would release unedited helicopter video. The helicopter took a pass this morning for about an hour, Courtney Campbell Causeway, Gandy, Fort DeSoto, Pass-a-Grille, all the way up to Fred Howard, and we'll have that video available for you. And what I can tell you from looking at that, and I watched it live as the helicopter was flying, is people are compliant. People are doing the right thing, and they're making that effort, and very pleased with the social distancing and the spread we have. I've seen some photographs of people at ground level, and it looks different than what it is. So I just ask you to be careful with that, because that ground level view isn't necessarily painting the accurate view. We want to make sure that it's accurate. So up in Fred Howard Park, within the last hour, it's about 50% capacity. Dunedin Causeway is very thick. Dunedin Causeway right now is probably about 80% capacity. Honeymoon Island, the state only opened it up at 50% of capacity. The capacity there is about 3,000, and there's about 1,500 people in the park right now. There are a couple in Bel Air Shore, Bel Air Beach area. There are a couple beach access points that have already reached capacity. So as I said, this is how we're going to manage this, is when we see areas that are full, the deputies are just going to shut it down and tell people to move to another area so that we don't have too many people on the beach where they can't do anything other than be on top of each other. Indian Rocks, there's no issues. Madeira Beach, Archibald Park is already at 100% capacity, and we expected this down in Pass-a-Grille. The City Commission decided to open 700 of the 1,000 parking spots that they have down there. That means 300 are closed. It quickly reached capacity, and we had to shut off Pass-a-Grille this morning to only residents down there. There's street parking, but it's only for residents with permits, and people are starting to park. So we did see some of that. But again, as long as we're managing it and controlling the environment, then this is going to be successful. But overall, we're very happy with what we've seen in the first few hours of this morning, and just look forward to working with the community over the next few days to make sure that this transition is as successful as possible and we get people out here and they enjoy themselves. So so far so good, and I'll turn it over to Commissioner Gerard as chair of the county commission. She wants to share a few thoughts with you, and then we can answer any questions that you all have.
Hi there. I just want to say we're really happy to see people excited about coming back to the beach. We're very happy to be able to make the decision to open it up again. There are many people that are not happy with us for doing so. So I'm hoping that the people on the beach, looks like they're behaving themselves right now, but I'm hoping they can prove us that we made the right decision, because I don't want to see anybody get sick. I'd like to see more people wearing face masks. I saw one on my whole walk up here. But who wears face masks to the beach, right? I'm just hoping that it stays like this and that we can control it to somewhat, because this is what Pinellas County's about. So thank you.
Does anybody have any questions? Anything you want to? Any questions for any of us? You got Chief Slaughters here, county administrators here, mayor.
If people do start to push their luck, and
What?
if people do start to push their luck and things go south,
Yeah.
what can they expect to happen?
Yeah, so we addressed that in the briefings we had with the deputies, and the first thing we want to do is educate and ask. And the next thing we're going to do is tell them, look, this isn't working and you need to adjust. And if they don't want to adjust, then they're going to be asked to leave. And we're going to go down a path, as I said before, and I'll say it again, is that you're going to have to beg your way into a problem. We don't want any problems. We're going to go out of our way to make sure that people are here and they have a great time, but they do so in a healthy way and in a safe way. And if somebody really wants to get on that path, then we'll have to address it. But ultimately, we could, and again, it's going to be an absolute last resort. If we have to, and somebody doesn't want to leave, then if we have to charge them with something, then we'll charge them with something. But that is so far down the pendulum of where we're going to go. The first thing is, again, you can see all the signs, you can see all the people, you can see the commitment and the ask, and then we're going to have a conversation with them, and then if it isn't working, we're just going to tell them to move on. But if we get way down that path where we have to do something, of course we're prepared to do it, but it's the last thing in the world we want to do.
Can you guys put this much emphasis on every single day with how many police officers you guys have here?
Well, I can tell you that you're going to see this emphasis and this much at least, okay, and it may go on further than this, at least for a week, and certainly through next weekend. Next weekend is Mother's Day weekend. It'll be the first weekend the beaches are open, and we are expecting that we're going to see crowds. So we're going to have an effective management plan for that. And again, some of that may be just limiting access, but we're going to talk about the best ways to handle it. By all accounts, this is busy for a Monday, and up and down the beaches. When I'm telling you on a Monday that Pass-a-Grille Beach is already at 100%, we've had to shut it down. That means a lot of people are here, but people have been cooped up and they've asked for this. And I can tell you this, let me just also share this with you. I can tell you today, there's a much different tone by the people that are on the beaches. I was out on the beaches this weekend. I was out all day Saturday and all day Sunday, and people were not cooperative. We saw some of the closed parking lots where people were ripping down the rope lines. They were pushing over the barrels. They were not cooperative with the deputies, and they were pushing back on us. They wanted to go to their beaches, and they were hell-bent they were going to go to their beaches, and quite frankly, a lot of them were not cooperative at all. When you start seeing people doing that, where they are pushing over barricades and they're pushing their way on and they're just defiant, that's not a good place to be. But the tone today is very different. Everybody that I've talked to from the north end to the south end is that people are compliant, they're cooperative, they want to be here and they want to work with us. So I hope that continues, and I have no reason to believe otherwise. But people were at a point where they needed something, and I think, and I concur, it was the right thing to do to open these beaches up, and we're going to make sure that it's done in the right way, in the safe way, and make sure that everybody feels like that this was the right decision.
Sheriff, did you have any conversations with Governor DeSantis ahead of today's opening?
I did not.
Did you try to contact him? Or?
I did not. He didn't close the beaches, so it wasn't his decision. It was a decision of the county commission. There are certain things that are in his wheelhouse and certain things that are in the wheelhouse of local government. And this is a decision that was in the wheelhouse of local government. Local government's the one that closed it, so local government was responsible for opening it. And across the board, he pretty much left that decision to local government.
Sheriff, you said that Pass-a-Grille parking is closed down right now to the public. Is this something that's going to be reassessed every morning?
We're going to have daily discussions about it and see. You know, I'll talk to the city manager down there. We'll talk to the city commission. I know that that's where they wanted to start, and we'll see how it goes. But you know, I'm a big believer in if you got it, open it and let us manage it, because then people can spread out. You know, there probably needs to be some discussion with the state as well about Honeymoon Island. Is that it's at 50% capacity, and as I told you, Dunedin Causeway is full. Now we got out there between the Causeway and Honeymoon Island, we got 20 deputies out there, so they're managing it. But this is Monday, and so I'd rather see them open Honeymoon Island at 100% and let us manage it. Let the people spread out in there, because they're coming, and we either have to let them in, we have to turn them around, or we got to let them spread out. But just coming and having a free-for-all isn't going to happen. So I'd rather see these areas that are all open and let people spread out. As you're seeing here, this is great. This is fantastic here on Clearwater Beach, and people are doing exactly what they should be doing. So we need to give them the space and give them the opportunity to enjoy it.
Sheriff, I know beaches are a big focus today. Have you seen any other issues throughout the county with restaurants and retail stores opening back up?
We haven't seen anything. You know, our tip center is still up, and the call center, I talked to people in there. We're getting more questions today than anything else. You know, I think a lot of the beaches, or a lot of the businesses are trying to ramp up and make their decisions about opening. I've seen some that I expected to be open, quite frankly, that are not. I think people are taking it slow, and they have to get their employees back. They got to, especially the restaurants, got to get food in, and they got to start rebuilding. So you know, I would imagine you're going to see that. But so far, we haven't had any complaints. We haven't had any issues as far as businesses are concerned.
In regards to the social distancing, I know folks are supposed to stay 6 feet apart and groups smaller than 10. Is there anything else in addition?
No, that's it. Is that, and again, we're applying a dose of common sense to this. And so, you know, if you got 2 women who show up with their 9 kids, okay, that's not going to be a problem. We're also not taking out a tape measure and measuring it. Everybody just be reasonable. Everybody just do the right thing. If everybody's reasonable and they do the right thing and they act the way they should act, we're not going to have a problem or an issue. So, you know, those are really the biggest things. And we don't have huge groups where they're acting out and you have this huge party atmosphere. Those are the things that are a problem that we're not going to let happen.
Another question. I know it's hard to talk about too much in the future because it's so nice that things are going well today, but you had mentioned if things get bad this weekend, you may close down certain parking lots.
Right.
Can people expect that if they start overwhelming the beaches that things will start closing down and kind of a relapse?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, they can expect that. You know, but we're going to take it a step at a time, and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. This is very early, and we'll certainly communicate with you all and the public, and ask you to help us in communicating with the public. But while today is encouraging, it's Monday, and I'm under no illusion that it's going to be busier as we move on in the week. But hopefully, we get our stride. Everybody knows what the rules are. Everybody's willing to comply. But if we have to limit access, then we'll limit access in the name of ensuring that it's done right and people are healthy and people are safe, and that we don't have an atmosphere that none of us want. So we'll take it a step at a time and see. But right now, I'd say it's a great success with what we've done. But we got a ways to go.
Do you feel like this is preparing you guys for this weekend for Mother's Day and all that?
Everything prepares us for the future. Yeah. Anybody have any other questions for anybody else? Anybody?
I had a question for the chair. You talked about some of the pushback that you were seeing. Can you speak to that? Just what people were pushing back about?
Well, a lot of people think that it's too early to be doing this, that we're endangering people. This is just the first step. I think we're trying to do it slowly, like the governor said. But if people can't behave with this, it won't bode well for any other opening up. But so far, so good.
All right. Anybody else have anything? We're good. All right. Thank you all. We appreciate you being here.